Hello class, this is lesson 2-3 about tips and markup. So to begin, another word for tip is gratuity, which comes from the Latin word gratis, which just means thankful or it means pleasing. And so when you're talking about paying a tip or a gratuity, you're really just talking about an additional amount of money that is paid for a service. Okay? You've probably seen your parents pay a tip for certain things. For instance, when you go to most sit-down restaurants, you have to pay a tip. If you go to a coffee shop, sometimes you might leave them a tip. A nail salon or a hair salon, it's kind of expected that you give them a tip. If you get a massage, if you go to a hotel or a valet for your car, or really any big event that you have, like for a wedding, all of those vendors that you might pay services for, you are also expected to give them a tip. So to calculate the tip, all that we're going to do is we're going to multiply two things. The first is whatever the fee is, and then we're going to multiply that by the tip percentage. Okay, now that tip percentage, we cannot leave it as a percent, so we need to rewrite it as either a decimal or a fraction. So I'm going to kind of highlight this, and this is what we're going to use for our first couple examples. So it says the restaurant bill for a group of 8 friends was $125 before tip. If the group wants to add an 18% tip, what will the final bill be? Okay, so first, let's look at that 18%. I can rewrite that as 0.18 or as the fraction 18 out of 100. So again, to calculate the tip, let's multiply that starting amount times the tip percentage, and 125 times 0.18 is going to give me $22.50 for a tip. So to find the final bill, I'm going to add the starting $125 for the food plus the $22.50 for the tip for a grand total of $147.50. All right. Moving on, this one says that you want to give your hairdresser a 15% tip on a haircut that costs $37.50. How much in total will you spend? So again, that 15%, I could write it as a decimal or a fraction. And so to calculate my tip, I'm going to multiply the cost times the tip amount, which is 0.15. And when I put that in my calculator, I find that the tip on this would be $5.63. So to find the total amount that I'm going to spend going to my hairdresser, I would add those two amounts together and get a grand total of $43.13. So it's kind of important that you make sure you have enough money. Now, another aspect that we're going to talk about today is the wholesale cost versus the selling price of an item. So the wholesale cost is really the amount that a store pays for any particular item. Okay, so they actually pay much cheaper for stuff like from a factory. Okay, now markup is the amount of increase. So what they do is they take that wholesale cost and they mark it up, they increase the price to get the selling price. So this is the price that you might see on a price tag, or they call it the retail price sometimes. And this is what a customer is going to be paying, okay? So similar to finding tax, I can kind of use that same formula for finding the markup. So to find the markup, I'm going to take my wholesale cost, so that's my beginning amount, and I'm going to multiply it by whatever the markup percentage is going to be. So let me go ahead and write that down. And again, I need to rewrite that as either a decimal or as a fraction, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of highlight this so that you know what formula to use for the next couple examples. So this says the wholesale cost for each shirt at a store is $17. The owner plans to mark up the shirts by 125%. What will be the selling price of each shirt? So I can rewrite it as 1.25 or 125 out of 100. And so to find the markup, I'm simply going to multiply that $17 times the percent. This time I'll use the fraction just to show you that we can do it both ways. 125 out of 100 simplifies to 5/4. So 17 times 5 is going to give me, I believe, 85. And 85 divided by 4 is equal to $21.25. So to find this brand new selling price, which is like the price tag, it's that $17 plus this new markup amount, and you would find that that selling price is $38.25. So businesses definitely make money. Now, looking at this next example, it says that the wholesale cost for a set of speakers is $62.25. Amazon is going to mark up the price by 60.6%. What will be the selling price of the speakers? So similar to the last problem, to find the markup, I'm going to take my starting amount and multiply it by the percentage of the markup. So rewriting that 60.6 as 0.606, I can multiply those values and find that it's going to be marked up an additional $37.72. So now to find the selling price, I'm just going to add the wholesale cost, which was $62.25, plus the markup amount of $37.72, and that's going to give me a grand total of $99.97. So that is what you would see on the price tag, okay? All right, let's go ahead and move on to a new example. Your family is shopping for a new car. The selling price of a car is $24,199.50, but your parents found online that the wholesale cost of this car was $22,100. What is the percent of the markup? Which is really the same as what you found earlier in this module. It is the percent of increase. So if you have forgotten how we found the percent of increase, all that we're going to do is we're going to find the amount of change, and then we're going to divide that by the original amount. Okay, so if you forgot how we find the amount of change, we would just subtract the two values that we have to find the difference between those. So $24,199.50 minus $22,100 divided by the original amount, which is that $22,100. So when I subtract those values, I get $2,099.50. And when I divide that by 22,100, I get 0.095. To turn that back into a percent, I move my decimal twice to the right, and I find that the markup percent was 9.5% for this car. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another one that's very similar. This says that a bike store sells a bike for $379.50. The wholesale cost of the bike is $230. What is the percent of markup? So again, we're going to find that amount of change and divide it by the original amount. So $379.50 minus 230 divided by 230, because that's my starting amount. The difference of those would be, let's see, $149.50 divided by 230. When I put that in my calculator, I get 0.65. And moving the decimal twice to the right, that tells me it is 65%. So it was marked up quite a bit. All right, here's our final example. We're going to use a lot of color. You go to California Pizza Kitchen with 3 of your friends. You split a large pizza, which is $18.60, and you each have a salad for $2.50 each and a soda for $2.25 each. You want to leave your server a 15% tip, so I guess they were pretty good, and that's just on the cost of food. And tax is 8.25%. What will each person pay if you split the bill evenly? I have definitely been in this scenario before with my friends, so let's break it down for yourselves so you understand what you're doing. First, let's just figure out how much is this food going to cost. So I need to pay for 1 pizza, I need to pay for 4 salads, and I also need to pay for 4 sodas, okay? So this is just the basics of what we're paying for our food and drinks. So that pizza cost $18.60. If I have 4 salads, that's 4 times $2.50. And if I have 4 sodas, that is 4 times $2.25. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of simplifying here. That leaves me with the $18.60 and $10 exactly, and another $9. And so then when I add all 3 of those values together, I find that the food itself just costs $37.60. So now let's calculate the tip. So the tip is just on this food amount. So $37.60 times 0.15, which is going to be, $5.64. Similarly, let's find the tax, and the tax is only on the food. So I'm going to only find 0.0825 times that $37.60. And I find that the tax is going to be $3.10. So I have the food, I have the tip, and I have the tax. So to find our total bill for the 4 of us, let's add all 3 of those values together. And when I do that, I'm going to get, I think $46.34. But that's for the 4 of us. We're going to split this bill evenly, which means I can now divide it by 4, because I'm not going to pay that much. We're going to divvy it out. So when I divide it by 4, this is telling me that each person needs to pay, or they owe, I think, about $11.59. And there we go. So I hope that made sense to you guys. So now to conclude this lesson, I have 3 problems for you to try on your own, calculating the tip, the selling price, and the total amount. So come with any questions. I'll see you in class.